Hello everyone, this is Andrew with the Doorways team, here to share some tips with you on the Intro to Accounting course. We'll start things off here by going to the accounting section in the main banner. You'll see here that we have 6 sections: deposits, bulk billing statements, month end, batch payments, formerly known as batch receipts in our legacy software, HDS Win, miscellaneous receipts, and late fees. Next up, I'm going to take you over to our pal Gandalf. And what I want to show you here is the difference between a created on date and a posted on date for a transaction. So if I open and expand this transaction here that was posted on the 3rd, I can look at the posted on date and see that it was set back in February 3rd. However, this transaction was actually created on February 18th, meaning that I backdated the payment. You also see other details here like the check number or money order number, as well as the user who created the transaction in the system. Next up, I want to show you that there are repayment agreements here in the system. They can be set up for an individual household. And you'll know that if you can set up the repayment for the household if you see a repayment ledger here underneath the account balances widget. So if you don't see something that says repayment or repayment agreements here as a ledger, you'll need to reach out to HDS support to get that configured. After that's configured though, in a case like this where there hasn't been a repayment agreement set up for the household, but the ledger has been configured, we can go to the tracking tab for the household, click on repayment agreements, and set up new repayment agreement. You'll want to select the ledger, how much it's for, and how much the expected payment is to be for every month, and then give it a start date. In this case, it defaults to the 1st of the next month. And there you have it. Another thing I'd like to point out is that besides rent that hits on the 1st of the month, we can have other reoccurring transactions. To set those up, you still stay here in the tracking tab, but you click on recurring transactions and set up new transaction. So if we wanted to say that there was a monthly utility charge, we could also set it up as an adjustment of some sort. Select the account that it posts to. And in this case, we'll say that it's an electricity charge type. And then you'll see that we have a start date and ending date. Because it's a recurring transaction, it will always post on the 1st. So no matter what date you started on, it will start on the 1st of the very next month. If you select on the 1st of the very next month yourself, it will start that day. But if we chose a date like 3/15, then the first posting would be actually on April 1st. You can choose an ending date. It's not necessary, but you can do it. Most recurring charges that we see happening are going on in perpetuity until the household moves out. So if you would like it to keep happening every month, don't give it an end date. So I'll click save here. And there we go. Real quick here, let's check out if this household is paying rent, and they are $550. Okay. Let's cut our guy Sean here a deal, and let's reset his rent to a fixed rate that we choose. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Toolbox tab up here, which is available to be selected whenever you're viewing a household. I'm going to go to our Actions menu, signified by the guy in the circle. And then I'm going to run an interim. Interims are useful for updating rents. So I'm going to continue on here. I'm going to make this effective on today's date. And up here, this is a special permission that you need to be assigned in order to set fixed rate rents or special rents. So if you have this permission, you'll see this here. You'll click yes, enter the amount, and a reason. And the reason will show up here in the household history. So there will be a paper trail of the reason that we entered here. We'll finish the recert. And now if we go to the household history here, we'll see that the new monthly charge is now $200. All right, moving on now. We'll go back to the accounting section, and we'll go to month end. And now that we're in here, we can go to the current month, and we can lock it or freeze it. I mean the same thing. We'll see who the user was that locked the month, as well as the date and time. Keep in mind that only the user who locks the month can reopen it from being locked. So we're going to refreeze it. And then note that once we close the month, it's going to be permanent. And if you need to reopen a closed month, you can. You'll need to call into support so that we can get a hold of a developer to come in here and reopen a closed month for you. So when we hit close here, it's going to ask us if we're sure we want to proceed. We'll hit yes, close month. And it'll come in with a updated date and time here. Next thing I want to show you is, let's get into a little bit of the details behind deposits and doorways and what they are called in WIN, which is batches. But doorways operates differently than WIN in this regard. In WIN, as payments or receipts were entered into the system, they were sorted by location and automatically placed into the current open batch for that location. That batch continues to grow as more payments are entered until the user goes into the batch reports option and closes the batch, at which point a post on date is stamped for that batch. And when the next payment is begun for that location and entered, the system will automatically create a new batch and place that payment and those that follow there in it until the next close batch action is processed. So in Doorways, as receipts or payments are entered into the system, they remain free floating as undeposited payments until the user takes further action. So when it's time to group payments into deposits and Doorways, it provides the user with a variety of filters along the left-hand side of the screen. So if we press Create New Deposit here, we'll see our filters on the left-hand side. And using these filters, then we can sort them more accurately to represent payments or batches, I should say, that we deposit at the bank. So in short, in HDS Win, payments or receipts are automatically sorted by location and sequentially placed in the current open batch or deposit. In Doorways, the user has the flexibility to group payments or receipts by a variety of factors, these filters here on the left-hand side that we were mentioning, and manually create deposits to accurately reflect the actual banking activity. So one thing you're going to notice here, we have one list here, one long list of payments or receipts that have been entered into the system. And you'll see here, this is the location column that I'm scrolling through right now, right here. So we have multiple payments, a lot of them from payroll and some of them from Maine. If I go in right now and try to create a deposit from this, it's going to give me a error message. It's going to let me know that I can't have multiple locations in this one deposit. So what I got to do is I got to remove some payments from the current deposit that I'm trying to make so that it's all from one location. So what I would have to do is remove these payments here made from the main location from the current deposit. And I can do that just by pressing this trash can here. Now, those are going to be moved down here into the transactions removed from current deposit. I can add them back in if I so choose, just by clicking the little arrow there. But it's a pretty quick way to remove these. They are not deleted, they're just removed from the current deposit. You'll see here that I still have some left in here from the main location. And I'm going to leave those in real quick just to show you that using my filters, I can filter down pretty quickly to just those that are in payroll. I could also filter it to by program, the project of that program, and the type of payment. In this case, I don't have any of cash type, so let's try credit or money order. You can have multiple of these filters on. It looks like all of these are checks. So now that I've filtered it down, I can create the deposit. And we'll see that deposit listed here. As I'm doing month end and I'm reconciling individual deposits, we have a little toggle here for you to use just to keep track of what you've reconciled and what you haven't. So that concludes the Intro to Accounting course. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck on the quiz, and we'll see you in the next course.